Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the design and build of the Zen DAC V2 and the Blue V2. As you can see, these look really, really nice stacked together. I love the design approach that iFi took to these. These aren't different in any way, I believe, aesthetically from the version 1s. They're identical as far as the design and the build. Which is fine, because I think the design and build is awesome. I don't see why they should have to change that anyway. I think they're beautiful the way they are. And the materials, the weight that it has, of course you've got the rubber feet on the bottom here, so you can stack them without having to worry about scratching anything that you stack it on top of. But the way they designed these aesthetically, I think they're just beautiful. I love the attention to detail, the brushed kind of finish on the faceplate. I love the matte, kind of a dark gray, kind of a charcoal gray finish on the outside housing. I love the dark gunmetal gray buttons and volume knob, little accents around the outputs. So the build quality and design is always top notch with iFi. Again, especially for this price, $159. These do not look like your typical $159 devices that you would get from a lot of other companies. Again, the build quality is, I think, just a step above. Again, especially for $159. So I love the attention to detail when it comes to design and build quality that iFi gives their products. I think that the design is absolutely beautiful. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about the knobs, buttons, inputs, and outputs on the Zen DAC V2. As far as the front outputs, we have the balanced 4.4 Pentacon, then we have an unbalanced 6.3 for full-size headphones. We also have an adapter that they supply that goes to 3.5. Of course, we have the volume knob, which is nice, has nice smooth motion to it, feels really nice. And we also have a true bass button here. Of course, that's a bass boost. Then we have power match. So when the power match is actually on, that actually gives you a high gain. When it's off, it's a low gain. So if you're using sensitive IEMs, then you want this off. On the back, we have more inputs and outputs. We have a USB input here that goes from your PC or laptop. This is the power input here. We have RCA analog outputs. We have a switch here, and you can choose between variable or fixed. And then you have a 4.4 Pentacon output, balanced Pentacon output here. Let's go over the specifications. This does support PCM and DXD up to 32 bits at 384 kilohertz. It also decodes MQA and DSD. DSD remains a bit perfect. Like the Diablo, it uses the Burr Brown DAC chip, and I love the Burr Brown DAC chip sound. I love that about these. As far as power output, the balanced output has 380 milliwatts of power, and the unbalanced 280 milliwatts output power. Now, going back to so the differences between the version 1 and the version 2. Now, aesthetically, they're the same. They look identical, front and back, the color scheme, everything. They didn't change the looks at all. Most of the differences, all of the differences are internally. The Zen DAC version 1 had a 8-core XMOS chip, whereas this one uses a 16-core XMOS chip. So just faster, more efficient processing. Also, the version 1 had an MQA renderer, not a decoder. This actually decodes, fully decodes MQA. Of course, this also does have the low jitter crystal clock, which lowers the noise floor. which that is a good segue into the sound. So let's talk about the sound. So I did actually test this using my several IEMs, the Mest MK1, the Kinera Nana 2.0, and the OG Solaris, also the BQEYZ Summer, some more, budget IEMs, the Tantrum Tanya, the Audio Voyager 3, and the Audio Oracle. But so going back to the noise floor, the Campfire, the OG Solaris, is a very, very sensitive IEM, and that will usually reveal any noise if there is any. I used that to test the Diablo. The Diablo had a very, very black background. Again, talking about the low jitter crystal clock, it's actually very, very effective. It does not have a completely black background. There is just a little bit of noise back there, but I had to listen so hard to hear it. And for me, it's almost undetectable when I'm even listening to music. I didn't even hear any of that background noise. It was only during the quietest parts of the music and in between songs when I even did hear it. And again, it was virtually undetectable 99.9% of the time. So that low jitter crystal clock is doing its job very, very well. Now, as far as the power match, again, going back to the OG Solaris, it is a sensitive IEM. So this gives you low gain and high gain, and with it off, it's in low gain. So I just left this off. I didn't need the extra gain at all. And so that worked really, really well. All of my IEMs, for the most part, I didn't need any high gain at all. I just basically left that off. Now, as far as the true bass here, what's really cool, and I'm reminded of the iDSD signature that had I believe it was the X bass on it. And one thing that's really cool, I'm not typically one to mess with a lot of DSP or any sound processing and all. I like to hear things as they are, or how they were meant to be heard. And so generally I'll stay away from this kind of stuff, unless, again, I'm just feeling like having a little fun, and that occasionally I'll do that. And I actually found myself messing with this quite a bit with this unit. And again, I like iFi's approach. It's different in that they do all of the bass boosting on an analog level, not through DSP. So it's super, super clean and sounds super natural, and it is a substantial bass boost. But again, it's very, very natural sounding. It does not, the bass does not bleed into the mids. It doesn't muddy the mids up. The bass isn't muddy or muffled sounding. It's very, very clean, very clear, and just an overall well implemented bass boost. So now, as far as the rest of the sound, even though it does have good resolution, good detail retrieval, just a little bit less analytical, more on the more about the musical presentation, I think, than anything. And again, it does have the Burr Brown DAC chip like the Diablo, but I would say this is a little bit warmer than the Diablo, even without, again, a lot of my listening was done without this bass boost on, but it just seemed like it had a little more emphasis in the mids and the bass than the Diablo, and obviously a less clinical, analytical presentation. But overall, as far as the mid presentation, it wasn't too recessed, it wasn't overemphasized, it was right where I like it. Same thing with the treble presentation, just right where I like it. As far as the detail retrieval, was excellent. The resolution is good. And overall, just a very, very, very clean sounding DAC, again, with a very low noise floor. So I'm constantly impressed with iFi's what you get in the $159 price range. They give you so much more than a lot of other companies. Again, when you look at the not just the build quality, not just the design, but the features, the way they implement a lot of their features, the bass boost, you've got the power match, you've got plenty of power, and not just power, it's clean power, and it's very, very good sound. For $159, there are very few other DACs out there that I can say that the overall package is better than the iFi. I would say that this is just a super, super solid package for the $159 price. I can definitely give this a rec. This is something that I want. This is a loaner from iFi, so I don't get to keep this. And that reminds me, a buddy of mine, I showed this to one of my work buddies. He has a couple of headphones. He's got the Verum 1s and then some HD 650s, I believe, the Sennheiser HD 650s. And he bought this just for those. He's kind of new to the hobby, and he absolutely loves this thing. So this is definitely something I'm going to have to add to my collection as well. Okay, so let's go over the buttons, the light indicators, and the outputs of the Zen Blue V2. On the front, you have a pairing button here. You have two different light indicators. This center one here is your Bluetooth codec display. This one is your Bluetooth pairing display. With the Bluetooth codec display, of course, this will the lighting color will change depending on what format you have, what Bluetooth format you're using. If it's SBC, it's off. AAC is yellow, aptX is blue, aptX HD is magenta, aptX Adaptive is green, aptX LL is red, LDAC is cyan, and LDHC and HWA are white. On the back, we have a 4.4 balanced Pentacon output. We also have RCA outputs here. You have an analog and a digital switch, as you can see. So you can, this is basically if you want to go analog out from your RCAs or from your balanced, of course you choose analog. If you want to go digital, you switch over to digital, and then you can use your coax or your optical out. You have an antenna. They give you two different antennas. This is the other antenna they give you. This one is, this one here, the flat one, has just more range. So that's cool. They give you a little better of an antenna depending on what your particular listening environment is or how far you're going to be away from the unit itself. So that's cool. They give you a longer range antenna. Of course, then you have the power input here. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about the sound performance of the iFi Zen Blue V2. Most of my listening was done with my S21 Ultra. The S21 Ultra supports SBC, AAC, aptX, and LDAC. I did hear the biggest difference in performance using LDAC. So most of my listening was using LDAC from my S21 Ultra. I also did use my DX220 that also has LDAC support, but none of my devices had the aptX HD or adaptive capabilities. So I typically, when I was listening, was using the LDAC codec. And like I said, I was using the optical output to my the iFi Diablo. And so, of course, the sound signature and detail retrieval of the iFi Diablo, the sound signature has a little bit of kind of a warmer kind of sound signature because it has the Burr Brown DACs, and so a little bit of a bass boost or a little bit of a low mid emphasis and bass emphasis. But it's also, it can really retrieve any detail. So whatever the source you're sending to that Diablo, it can really it'll expose or retrieve any detail that's in there. And Now, also, again, most of my testing is done with IEMs. So I was using my Campfire Solaris OG, my Unique Melody Mest MK1, the Kinera Nana 2.0. Also tried the Voyager 3, the Theaudio Voyager 3, the BQEYZ Summer, the Tantgem Tanya. So there were quite a few, and more. There were quite a few IEMs that I tried when I was doing my testing. Also, got to try out a couple of my buddies, a couple of his headphones. So I think I kind of put this thing through its paces for the most part. But as far as the sound quality, again, the best quality was using the LDAC codec with my S21 Ultra. And, you know, that's one thing I've always been a little hesitant to be fully on board with Bluetooth products, because I know there can be a little bit of information missing with Bluetooth as opposed to just a full digital or analog signal. So I did do a lot of going back and forth with the Diablo. I hooked up the Diablo to my DX2220 using the optical out, comparing that to this, using this as the source with the Diablo. So I kind of went back and forth and really just trying to see what the difference is between Bluetooth and using a fully analog or digital source. And depending on the IEMs that you're using, you are going to notice a difference. With the higher end IEMs that I have, I can definitely tell the difference between the two. Now, as far as other Bluetooth devices, though, this is probably one of the cleanest, most capable Bluetooth devices I've heard in a long time. The detail that this gives out and decodes, the detail retrieval is really quite good, and it has really good just overall resolution and just clarity. It's a very clean product, and I think again that's one thing that iFi never skimps on. They always want to give you the best bang for your buck, and I think that definitely is the case with this product right here. As far as the Bluetooth range, I was able to achieve really good range with this extended antenna here. Now, of course, I'm plugged in. This was plugged into the iFi Diablo. My earphones were plugged in to the iFi Diablo, so I didn't stray too far. I didn't really need this, but I did test it, and I was able to go outside probably, I think about probably 80 feet or more, and I was still able to get a signal through to this. And I know that everybody is going to have their own setup. So for some, it might be important to have this long range antenna. For my purposes, because I'm pretty close, my Bluetooth source is pretty close to the DAC. I didn't need to be very far from this. Okay, so let's go ahead and wrap this up. If there's one thing that stood out to me the most about these two products, is its value. And that seems to be a consistent theme with all of iFi's product. Even the Diablo, as expensive as it is, again, iFi gives you, in my opinion, more than what you pay for, especially in this price, at this price point, the $159 price range. What you get is again, when I think about what not all companies, there are other companies out there that offer great value and good products and good sound, but iFi just seems to impress me the most. It seems like they always, again, when you look at the aesthetics, the design, the materials that they use, the build quality, these things are solidly built, and they're beautiful. They're absolutely beautiful. They're designed to last. They're designed to give you great performance at a very, very affordable price. And again, when you consider the Zen DAC V2 with the Burr Brown DAC chip, the blue V2 with the ESS Sabre DAC chip, the implementation of the True Bass on the Zen V2 at an analog level, not a DSP level, just a well implemented True Bass. Again, value is what jumps out at me when I think of an iFi product. And again, that's not even to mention the excellent sound quality that you get with both of these products. These are excellent products. And with both of these, I feel like iFi just knocked it out of the park again. So I can easily recommend both of these products. I want to thank iFi for these loaners. I have had an absolute, just a wonderful time with both of these, and again, I'm just so grateful to iFi for them loaning these to me. So to all of my viewers, I want to say thanks for watching. Please like, please share, please subscribe to my channel. I hope you guys have an awesome day.